Welcome, welcome. Oh goodness, we have a lot to do tonight. And of course, the development session would not be complete without a sugar-free soda. Oh yes, 0 calories, because when you're sitting for hours in coding, why do you need the calories, really? So tonight, I'm going to get a few things done, hopefully. We'll see how far we get. So on the agenda, there is a bug fix to do for when a citizen has been acquired but they are not yet employed. It's still showing them as available. I talked about that last time, but I'll be fixing that tonight. And it'll be an easy fix. And then I have begun with the market mechanic. So basically having a world economy that influences how much income your businesses generate and things of that nature. And so I'll be kind of showing off that a little bit. Things are beginning to change very rapidly now that everything is kind of in full swing. And then lastly, if we have time, after kind of doing some gameplay balance stuff with this market mechanic and maybe a few other tweaks, if we have time, I would like to get into save games and managing save game state, which is very important. I do like to start off every stream pointing out that elegacorp.com always has the live stream schedule there on the right. So if you're ever wondering when is the next stream or wondering why isn't the stream happening today, I try to deliver schedule updates here on the site, and there on the left you can see the recent blog posts. And of course, there is the merchandise right there in that banner. And you can also go to products and Teespring, and that will take you to the Teespring merchandise store. And that's a great way to support the development on Kalling Kingdom before Kalling Kingdom is made available. So, having said that, I will minimize Firefox for a moment. Let me do a quick check on OBS here, make sure everything is up. My face was missing. Gosh, that's important. It's not a complete stream unless you can see my face. Okay, so here in Unity, you may notice that everything looks all kinds of messed up compared to last time. But that's okay. That is okay. So in the scene view, it looks even more crazy. There's red lines all over the place. There's buttons over buttons, text over text. It's crazy. Well, if I hit play, everything should work out okay. And so what I did was I wrote some code where basically everything is initialized with the panels being visible, all of the UI panels. And so that's basically what you're seeing here. Still having issues. Maybe I can work on that tonight as well, try and fix this getting cut off over here and try and get some things straight on the resolution and scaling and things of that nature. But I updated the UI code. You wouldn't know it because everything still basically looks the same, with some exceptions. So if I do some offers and land some people here, if they will accept, there we go. Got a few, and then just kind of build a couple things here. So there's a stable, and I'll assign someone to that. There is no next business yet. That's okay. Build one more stable. Okay. And match that. Okay. So we get a couple people at a couple stables, and yes, I know the artwork is still not good to go, right? I'll get there. There's still plenty more code to do, and I know that I did do some modeling, 3D modeling work on one of the last streams. But anyway, so you would, like I said, you wouldn't know it, but the UI code has actually been overhauled quite a bit. It's about 50 lines less. And the way that it works is it's like dynamic. And so over in the Unity editor, stop there. Over in the Unity editor, I have all the panels They're all initialized at runtime. They have basically a new UI panel component, and I'm able to specify what I should keep active in addition to what the name of this UI panel is. And then all of the basically the visibility toggle code takes care of the rest. It intelligently kind of collects all of these and sorts them, and then decides what to turn on and off based on just the configuration inside of the editor. There are a couple other changes, and one thing I hope to do tonight. Oh, Silverware Games in chat says hello. Hello, Silverware Games. How are you? And hello to all the others in the chat as well. So, yeah, a couple other things have changed. I want to kind of show those here. So, we're going to create some test scripts tonight because that is desperately needed. I was just about to do it yesterday, but it was getting late and I had to put things down. So, I'll do the same thing again. I'll add a couple stables, and I have a few people. I'll add a farm as well. Okay, and then oh yeah, a farm. There we go. I'll call this farm 1. Okay. So when I go to next turn, it shows the summary, and it basically points out that income is -4. Now, why is income -4? Well, it's -4 because I'm coughing. No. It's -4 because expenses are 10, tax revenue is 6. Why is tax revenue 6? Well, it's because of the income per turn on each of the businesses. Okay, fine, but there's some problems here, which is the player doesn't really know how much they're going to get based on the income per turn displayed here. And another thing that happened is that once I put in a sort of slow cycling market mechanic, in other words, there's a market that's going up and down across the world, and that's influencing the income variables here in the simulation. And currently, when that's affecting the income is not reflecting the market factor, so to speak. Let me show you what I mean. So if I keep everything the same right now, and I say next turn, okay, it looks like we have positive income now. That's weird. I didn't really change anything as far as how much tax revenue is getting collected, or did I? Well, I did. The income on the businesses may be going up because of the market. So if I continue going through the turns, what I should see happen is I should see the tax revenue number change at some point, or not. Oh, there it goes. So now it just dropped. It went from 12. We've changed nothing, right? We're progressing through the turns. It went from 12 down to 6, and that's because the market conditions are changing. Let me keep going. Okay, now it's going down to 3. So right now, I'm not really able to tell the player this yet, but there's a market downturn going on. The businesses are struggling. The expenses are staying the same because it still costs the same to run the town. And of course, I still need to add a breakdown of these expenses. But the tax revenue keeps going down because the income on the businesses is going down. So let me keep going. And eventually the market will recover. So now we're earning nothing. So we're just losing money at this point. But if I keep going, things will eventually come back up. Oh my gosh, look at that. And I think we can get higher than 12. Maybe not. Maybe that's the highest it goes. Yeah, that's probably the highest it goes with only 2 stables and a farm. That's okay. I'm already on turn 46. So there's some serious challenge to the player here in terms of dealing with this big market recession. But there's a lot of tweaking left to do, because if I were to go through the same thing again, you would see that, you know what, the market kind of hangs down very low for a long time. And that's a significant issue for a number of reasons. Okay, like if the market hangs down too low and your businesses can't generate money because the market is just like basically crashed, well, if that hangs on too long, now I've given the player an unfair situation because there's nothing that they can do to affect their outcome against the market. And so there has to be some way to balance all this. There's a few ways I could do it. One, I could have market downturns be limited, right, to a certain number of turns before things kind of recover back up. I could randomize it a little bit so that, you know what, some games you play, you may experience these horrible depressions that you have to work through. But I don't really like that necessarily because now you have this uneven difficulty curve. Okay. Another way that I could manage it, I could put in some other mechanic that allows them to kind of shield themselves from the kind of the collapse of the world market, right? Maybe there's some kind of a so-called local economic thing that I could do to shield the town in that case. So from this standpoint, last stream I basically had a full working concept, but it was extremely simple. It was just, okay, we can build buildings, the buildings can generate some income, that's fine, and we can offer money to people so that maybe they'll come to the town. But the problem with everything as it existed last time is that I'm starting the player with 10,000 in cash, and then they end up spending all that cash in the beginning just building buildings and getting people, and then they just have to kind of ride it out because it was basically impossible to get a high enough income so that you could provide growth opportunities to the player, so that mid game and end game they're staying not staying busy, but they have a number of like options and choices to make. So there's a lot to tackle there. And one thing I could do is I could start doing the same thing over and over again in the UI, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to write some test scripts because that's what efficient programmers do, I think. So let me get rolling into that. So the way that I'm doing this is really simple. Unity has a test runner, and I looked at it, but the test runner is for like traditional unit tests. And unit tests are great whenever you want to make sure that the integrity of your code logic is totally intact and it stays intact over time. In fact, I'm a huge proponent when it comes to business applications of doing test-driven development. With game development, it's a little bit different, I think, because sometimes you have to prototype things out to even know if you want to do them in the first place. And so sometimes you're just snapping things together kind of, in an ugly way and getting that to work. Anyway, so what I've done instead of using the Unity test runner is I have a C# script. It's called test game, and I'm going to start writing a bunch of test scripts in here. And I'm basically just having them run as coroutines. And you're not going to be able to see the UI moving at all because it doesn't need the UI layer in order for it to run. But it is going to automatically play the game. Sort of. Well, we're going to tell it how to play the game, basically. So the first thing that I need to do is give the player test businesses to own. And I'm going to give them 6 farms. I'm going to give them 2 stables. And that's kind of where I left off last night is doing that. So let's get that out of the way first. And I'm going to need to adjust some things, I think, on the business because I want to create, I'll say this is a stable. I want to create the person or an owner to the business at the same time that I'm creating the business, so to speak, or at least adding the business. So I'll say new business. This is a stable. This I'm actually going to take out I'm going to do another loop up here. So I'll throw that up there. So stable. I'm going to create a person along with the stable. Actually, this looks like this is a scenario for a function. I can do like a factory pattern sort of thing. So I'm going to say this returns a business. So create business. This is a little bit similar to the method that exists in the game manager, but I'm going to be creating a person at the same time. And I kind of did that in the beginning of writing the game manager, and then I took it out. But business, new business. And this is a type. So actually, I'm going to take all this out, and instead, I'm going to replace this with create business farm. This is going to be test businesses to own, add, create business, stable. And then up here, I'm going to put the logic in. So person, new person, and so I'm going to say business owner is the person. That may be all I need. Let me take a look at person real quick. I don't have anything that generates the name. I don't even know if they need a name. Let me just see if that'll work. That might work. Game manager. Owned businesses. So I'm going to do this up here, say businesses owned. This is just going to be the count. Just to do a quick test. Businesses owned, game manager dot owned businesses dot count. Save. And in here, create empty. We'll call this test game. As soon as Unity compiles and responds, test game, okay. And it should automatically find the game manager. So, what are they doing there? So this is going to run once, okay. Test income, yeah, that should be good. Yeah, that's not right. Or is it? No, I think that is right. It says businesses owned 8. Yeah, that's correct. So that worked out. I wonder if I hit next turn. Okay, no. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to advance a number of turns. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say cache at turn 10. We're going to initialize all these at 0, cache at turn 20, and I'm going to go all the way to 60. Okay. And then I'm going to advance through the turns. We'll stop at turn 60. And I'll say 4 and I 0 I is less than turn to stop at. Game manager and advance to next turn. This ought to be interesting. 60 and I also want to say if game manager current turn is 10, then cache at turn 10, game manager.cache. So I could really do all kinds of scenarios with, I'm just going to copy and paste because why not? It's not a best practice. But yeah, I could do all kinds of scenarios with these test scripts. And I might make this nicer. Right, but if any of you in the chat are programmers yourselves, you may be wincing watching me do all these if statements. Just don't panic, all right? It's only temporary. Okay. Let's see if this works. Probably won't, but let's try. Watch it crash. Oh, okay. Okay, so the cache did not change much. So it went from 9,910, 9,810, 9,710. Oh. Gosh, you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to add people to the town. They own the businesses, but they're not a part of the town. That's a problem. Where do I initialize? Okay, I want to do this. I want to make a new instance of a game manager. I'm just going to do that. Game manager, so just to completely eliminate the possibility that I'm kind of interfering with the existing game object, because I don't know if I like using that. Game manager, and then so inside of here, the person, I'll say game manager people dot add the person to the town. I'll want to do that before they're assigned as the owner of the business, I think. And I might be breaking this right now just by not, because I have a match function that does a few things. You know what? Let me look at that. I better look at that. Match person to business. Current business add worker. Yeah, see, there's a reason I'm probably using that. Add worker. Okay, yeah, we do need to use that. So I screwed that up. So let me do business dot add worker person. Okay, that should work better. I should see income that's much higher, I think. Another thing that this particular test is not doing is it's not deducting the cost of the buildings. I probably need to do that. I do need to do that actually. But let me see these numbers. We have an error. Hang on. Why is this called game object? Test game. Oh, hang on. Let me stop. Test game. Okay. Line 320. Data manager log turn. Oh, goodness. Okay, yeah. We don't have a data manager on the game manager. Well, that's no good, is it? That's fine. Let me see if I can quickly kind of stub that and create some. Game manager, UI manager. Oops. UI manager. Goodness. Snippets, they are great until they're not. Okay, UI manager. New UI manager, and I want the data manager to be a new data manager. And this is the drawback of doing all that stuff in the Unity editor, is that you lose, you then end up having a hassle when you want to exercise all this control in this scripted test. I may have way too much to worry about here. Game manager, current turn 0. Hopefully I don't run into too many thousands of errors going through this. But if I do, it's a sign that I may need to kind of rework some things. And so in that way, it may be a good thing. Although, how much time do I have, really? It's still saying there's a null pointer exception. And I just messed up the window size. That's great. Okay. Hang on, let me try this again. Okay, maybe stubbing was a bad idea. I don't know. Let me just replace how it was for now. gosh. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's going to be a pain. Current turn, UI manager, data manager. I don't understand. Why is it... Let me see what's coming back. Let me see what's coming back. It says the current turn is 1. Well, that worked. So it hits that after going in a few turns, I guess. Game manager null. Oh, okay. That's because of the multiple references that we're having to do. So we need to create these separately, unfortunately. Gosh, what a pain. What a pain. Data manager. Everything has to be pointing to everything else. That's the problem. Well, yeah, that is a problem, isn't it? Would be nice to have some other way to architect this. I know there's a better way, but I need to get a result quickly. Line 322. Update market state. Okay, yeah, so I don't have a market. So I need to create a market. Don't. I accidentally opened up the Python window there. Okay. So let me create a market. I'll create a market. Not that way. UI manager 150. Oh, goodness. It's so dependent on the scene. I don't like that. All right. Well, I wanted to avoid it, but that can't be right. Find object of type. Oh, maybe it is. We'll find out. I hate having to stub like everything. Okay. Okay, so these numbers look a lot better. 10,182, then to 10,282, but then back down to 10,222. So that's not counting building expenses. Oh, wow. What did I just see? That was interesting. Oh, wow. The UI jumps us all the way, but you don't see any of the businesses, but it still updates the numbers at the top. That's fun. Okay. No, I do not want to run that application. That was the wrong button. Okay. Okay, well now I need the cost of the businesses to be on the cache as well. So hopefully there's an easy way I can make that happen. I think I did that through here. Build mode. Oh yeah, look at that. I did do it through here. I'm going to move this to a separate function so I can use it. I'm going to say current buyout price. So I'm going to say buy. No, I'll say update cache from build and buy. I guess. I mean, I don't know. There's probably a better way I could word that. And it's going to take the cache and the current buyout price. We'll just do this whole thing in there. Probably needs to be in its own function anyway, really. Update cache from building by. Update cache current buyout price. Okay. It's a fairly complex process whenever you lay a building down. There's a lot going on there. Okay. Business. So let's say game manager. Update cache from building by. This will be game manager.cache with for the buyout price. Let me see what sets that. Current buyout price. It's probably the business graphic setting that. Build option graphic. So I can use one of those just for the buy prices, I guess. Oh gosh. This is all gonna break later, I can feel it. It's all gonna have to change. Okay, I'll just do one of those. Business option graphic. If I can reference it, business option graphic, business type to base buyout price. Business buy price. Try get value type out business buy price. Business buy price. That could be a lot nicer. I need to really look at that at some point, if I can. Oh, build option graphic. Okay. It's storming outside where I am. Well, that didn't work. The numbers are exactly the same. Let me debug it. Business buy price 0. Okay, let me try this. Build option graphic, initialize base buyout prices, and see if that makes a difference. It's probably not initialized, because it's probably not part of a regular constructor. It still doesn't work. Holy cow, how annoying. Okay, I have the prices now. cache does not get updated. Update cache from building by. What the heck? What is wrong with this? Let me see if it works whenever I just do a normal run. I'll disable the test game component. Oh, it doesn't. Well, that explains it. Oh, of course. I can't just call this cache because that's a shared variable name. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I can take these out. I don't need those in this. I don't need a signature. No, I do need a signature. No. Come on. No, I don't need a signature. I don't need a signature. Set the current buyout price on the game manager. That's what I'll do. Oh goodness, my machine is running kind of slow. Something is hogging the CPU. That's not good. Is Unity to blame for this? I have Blender open. Let me close Blender. OBS is to blame. Of course. Even though I'm using the GPU. I guess it's too much for my little GTX 1070. Okay, that works. Now the test game. Okay, that's more like it. So now the numbers that I'm getting back, I'll actually type them out so that you can see them easier on the video, because these are interesting numbers, right? So at turn 10, after we build 8 different businesses, 2 stables, and 6 farms, it's enough to have positive cash flow. But at turn 10, there's 2,982. At turn 20, there's 3,082. Turn 30, there's 3,022. Turn 40, there's 3,194. Turn 50, 3,342. And turn 60, 3,290. So between turns 50 and 60, we can see the effect of the market coming back down. But overall, these numbers are way too low. So, but the nice thing about this is that now I have a mechanic, well, not a mechanic, but a test that I can use as I adjust mechanics that can basically show me if I'm on the right track. And what I could also do is begin adding some other options. But I think one thing that I've figured out is that the numbers just don't work, right? So I need to figure out, I either need to bring the building prices kind of way down, or I need to bring the income substantially up. But there's a problem with it because I don't think that that's all I need to do, because the situation of how the game plays out over the 60 turns is still not the way that it needs to be. I suppose one other thing I could do is I could have the market mechanic be an even greater multiplier to the amount of cash that the businesses bring in. And another thing that I need to do, and this I do plan to do, is provide the player the ability to some extent to manipulate the tax rate. If I manipulate the tax rate, that could certainly affect the numbers substantially in a pretty strong way. But the test speaks very clearly to the need to redo the mechanics. Goodness. Well, not the mechanics, but the numbers, the income and the expenses, they need to be adjusted. The expenses from the standpoint of the build prices for sure. I'm going to have to give this a lot of thought. A lot of thought. Yeah, I mean, there just has to be something else. I mean, because adjusting the numbers is one thing, but I feel like there has to be something else mechanically that gets me to where I want to go in terms of the overall curve on the gameplay throughout mid-game and toward the end game. The weapons thing being the most expensive is fine. I don't think 10,000 works at all at this point, because the player is going to be lucky to get back to 10,000, at least right now. But I need some way. What I would like some way for the player to make their way back to like some ridiculous numbers by the end of the game. It should be very tricky for them to do it for whatever reason, but they should make their way back. So they should go way down, probably have a struggle to deal with one or two market downturns perhaps, and then they should be able to come back in the end game if they've employed a good strategy. And there should be more than one strategy for them to do. And this feels a little bit like it's like a matrix math problem or something like that. Just from a pure mathematical perspective. And unfortunately, I kind of suck at math. So, there is that. So when the player puts down the 8 businesses in the beginning, that knocks them down quite a bit. So if they do 6 farms in the beginning, That's 6 times 1,000, 6,000, plus the 1,200 for the 2 stables. So that's 7,200 down right there. The numbers that I just punched out is not counting the cost of acquiring the people to come to the town as well. So that's an issue. I wonder if I bet a way that I could figure this out is to use kind of a real world model, where so in real life, generally speaking, if you're in the developed world, you have a job, you have a salary, you may purchase a house. When you purchase a house or other, property or real estate, you might take out a mortgage. The mortgage may be priced out over 15 years, and in some cases, the cost of a house may be a few years of that salary. And one of the things that I do want to do is, the businesses are earning income. Part of that income probably needs to go to paying people's salaries every turn. The people's income has some effect on their happiness level, and I haven't touched any of those variables yet. So maybe the approach that I might take between now and maybe Sunday is run a test and see, if I can just figure out with these numbers, figure out the reasonable salary that these people should be earning, then I can kind of adjust everything from there, including the cost of building the business buildings. Or, the other thing to consider too is I could easily add a multi-turn mechanic where the buildings are paid for over multiple turns. That's how it happens in the real world. I know this is fantasy, and granted, it is simpler to do everything all in a lump sum. I don't know. It's not a clear answer. So obviously there's a lot more to do here. And this is really concerning to me. This is going to bother me until I really kind of figure out the trick to the balance here in terms of the design. And until I do that, I don't think I'm going to be in a good position to work on anything else, really. I think this has to take top priority for sure. Followed very closely by save games, because save games are just critical. And if I don't start working on them basically now, then it'll become more and more problematic to hammer them out in time for basically what has to be like a priority on art. By the last week of June, art has to take priority. We got to just polish the visual look of the game. But the gameplay itself, by the end of this month, really needs to be worked out. And the fact that, okay, yeah, I did a prototype, but the balance is just super way off here. And in fact, I would say mechanically there's something critical that's missing here. I mean, right now the player would just be incredibly disappointed at the moment. So, anyway. That's just me thinking out loud here. I'll go ahead and call the stream there. I definitely need to take some time away and go figure this out. It seems like every other stream, though, we have a really great time with some new major milestone on the simulation front, but then the very next one I find out some major problem. But it's okay. I think there is progress being made. I think overall, there's a lot of positivity to go over here. It's definitely making progress. All right. Well, I will leave you folks with that. If you have any questions in chat over anything that you saw, now's the time to shoot it out. I do have some artwork that's coming this Saturday for the wonderful Screenshot Saturday hashtag. In fact, well, it's actually like right to my left. I would reach over and show you, but you'll see it. You'll see it. It's not a big deal anyway. Also, over this weekend, I am going to try and knock out the farm graphic. So we'll start to see a tiny bit of artwork, hopefully, by the time we get into this next week. And I do want to. I mean, I want to crank through this next week. I'll probably be putting in additional hours and hopefully get into alpha. Basically, all of July needs to be beta. So, anyway. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you soon. Remember to go to elegacorp.com for the stream schedule.